Forecasts are saying it's going to get a lot colder and this rain is going to continue. Find out how that could mean snow later on our show.
If we save one child, it's worth the time.
But only if people take the time to check out the program. We'll tell you how to do that. A yoga instructor uses a hot room to cool down the mind.
The areas that need the most should be getting the most.
Local leaders talk getting around in Athens.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening, I'm Ethan Monteagudo. As you just heard, a mix of rain and snow could cause some tough driving conditions tonight, but nothing will stick. Grady Newsource weather anchor Jack Binder will have more on that later. But first, our top story. Says it now has a full picture of what happened in the deaths of 2 men found in their home this past Sunday. Grady Newsource reporter Mayan Patel joins us live in the newsroom. Mayan, what did they conclude?
Ethan, the Sheriff's Department confirmed that they received information from the crime lab that gave them the full picture of what happened. Investigators say 27-year-old Andrew Colford Moneymaker had been struggling with mental health issues, and it appeared that he was trying to harm himself with a firearm. That's when his father, Jason Colford, tried to intervene. The gun accidentally discharged, and the bullet hit Andrew in the head, exited, and then hit his father, killing them both. And Ethan, that is a story that today people in the community are struggling with.
We may need to stop for a second so I can get that phone.
No worries. Brett Williamson is a busy man, but news posted on the Oglethorpe County Sheriff Department's Facebook page about 2 deaths not far from home gave him pause.
Well, I'm a little bit shocked. We don't see too many shootings around here, for sure.
Now Williamson wonders what help Andrew Colford Moneymaker could have received from the county.
We need somebody to come in here and talk to our county commissioners and see if there's some way we can implement something in this county.
Brandon Hardy, a licensed clinical social worker at MedLink, agrees. And he says the biggest roadblock is destigmatizing conversation about mental health.
A lot of it is that. Some of it is cultural. The men who need help think that it's kind of demeaning to talk about their feelings. Real men don't cry, real men don't show emotion. They just kind of suck it up and drive on.
While the resources might be limited, Hardy says the first step is simple. Talk.
We're all human. We all deal with anxiety, we all deal with depression, we all deal with low self-esteem. Find someone you can trust to talk to about these things. Don't go alone.
Tuesday, we told you that when officers arrived at the scene, the family's dogs were protective over the bodies. And Ethan, those dogs are now getting ready to be up for adoption to start their new life.
Thanks, Mayan. Bo, Mamacita, Gremlin, and Buddy are at the Oconee County Animal Shelter and will be cleared for adoption after they pass medical tests. For anyone who wants to adopt the dogs, call 706-769-3956. You make decisions every day. Some of them change your life forever. That's why one local law enforcement officer started the Choices program, because she saw too many people lose everything, including their freedom, because of one bad choice. Grady Newsource reporter Mary Calkin shows you how the program aims to prevent other young people from losing it all too.
This was my first patrol car in 1987, and
the law is her life. It's been that way for more than 35 years.
My uniform, which I just had a regular belt to wear my gun on, sort of like I do now.
This photograph marks that day 8 years ago when Janice Mangum became the second female sheriff ever elected in the state of Georgia, and the first ever in Jackson County. It's also when she decided to create the Choices program.
This is kind of my baby right here.
Her baby is a program to help young people in her community understand the life-changing consequences of bad decisions.
I said, well, you know what, we can do this and bring people in to talk about their experiences, because as the sheriff, they're not going to listen to me say, you don't need to drink and drive, you don't need to do drugs, you don't need to vape.
For 7 years, Mangum's connected people who've paid the price for bad decisions in their past to people most likely to make them in the future.
But they might listen to somebody that has done something that put them in prison.
These speakers are not hardened criminals. They were normal people, until they weren't.
Going straight into the University of Georgia, cheerleader, homecoming court, very popular in high school.
Until she made one fatal decision.
She still's got to live with the fact that an innocent life was taken because she made the choice to drink and drive.
John Carden says he knows how tough it can be to make the right decisions.
I was an alcoholic, more an alcoholic than a drug addict for probably the better part of 20 years.
His wife gave him a choice.
It was either get divorced or get sober. So my choice was to get sober.
Now he dedicates his time to helping people before they make the mistakes he did.
My goal would be one person. If you can get to one person and stop them from doing what I did, then it's worth it.
Sheriff Mangum is right there with him.
If we save one child, it's worth the time.
Grady Newsource reporter Mary Calkins joins me now. Mary, is this problem just for teens or for young adults as well?
Well, no, Ethan. Anyone at any age can make mistakes, and that's why this program's for everyone. And to put it in Sheriff Magnum's words, she said, "I don't want to see an empty seat there." Ethan, that's how important she believes this program to be.
Thanks, Mary. The 7th Annual Choices Program will be at Jackson EMC on March 12th at 6:30 p.m. Anyone can come listen, and it won't cost a dime. You'll have a choice to make in the next University of Georgia Student Government Association elections. Much of the nation turned in to see the Democratic nominees on the debate stage in Nevada last night. But to watch the 3 SGA executive tickets battle it out on the debate stage. The students erupted in cheers as the candidates took the stage, and as each ticket made a point, the audience snapped in agreement. Students at the event said that they learned more about each ticket.
This is why you can't just take what you see on social media at first glance of what you're going to vote for. You actually have to come out to these meetings or these debates to see who.
Voting for the SGA elections opens Monday, February 24th, Wednesday the 26th. Some of the hot topics at last night's elections event were connecting the students with SGA, food insecurity, and mental health. Grady Newsource reporter Anna Catherine Alderman covered the SGA debate and joins me live in the studio. Anna Catherine, you mentioned to me that mental health took center stage at the debate.
Yes, I'll be honest, this was my first time to be at an SGA debate. And when the candidates started talking about an issue like mental health, I was kind of shocked to hear them talking about something that's so important and a topic that's really being talked about on a national stage. In fact, all 3 tickets emphasize the importance of mental health and making sure that mental health care is accessible for all students. The Beyond ticket is advocating for something they're calling touchpoint times.
Having CAPS and University Health Center members literally coming in the room and just being there, whether it's watching a movie or being a presence, and it's not when students need help. So when they need help, they can turn to them.
The Forward ticket is advocating for training for student leaders on campus.
Make strides towards mental health awareness is getting training for student leaders across the campus in various organizations. It's a very cost-effective and affordable training.
And the Unite ticket is advocating for making CAPS known to students from the moment that they step on campus.
Introducing the CAPS representatives to the new first years in the move-in process, and by introducing them, we're going to reduce the barriers to mental health care access. Building on It's On Us Week and building on health in general.
A few years ago, the focus for mental health was really focused on crisis intervention, but now they're taking a new approach. Christine Groff at the UGA Health Center told me that there are some new programs in the works.
A huge emphasis of what we've been doing in the last few years is developing programming around wellness programming that's prevention as well as early intervention for students.
There are 4 big resources on campus for students: CAPS, Aspire, Psychology, and Adderhold. But CAPS is the only one that is exclusive to students. The other 3, Aspire, Psychology, and Adderhold, are open to those that live in the Athens-Clarke County area. Back to you, Ethan.
Thanks, Anna Catherine. Great stuff. One study says yoga can help reduce depression severity. That can be important to the CDC. 50% of all Americans who, according to the CDC, will be diagnosed with a mental illness or disorder at some point in their lifetime. Grady Newsource reporter Gigi Kwan shows you how a local hot yoga program changed the lives of 2 women.
When you're doing yoga, it's a moment for yourself to leave everything behind. Yoga student Natalie Rogers is a retired ballerina. She says she has so many injuries throughout the years. Yoga helps.
It is absolutely a godsend. The definition of yoga is actually union, and it is the union of the mind, the body, and the spirit. And once you start practicing yoga, you start to understand that that's the purpose of it.
Yoga is not only about the posing, also the music, the lighting, essential oil, those are elements for calming. Yoga instructor Miriam Frost says, people love you the best way they can, no matter you like it or you hate it. Frost began teaching yoga because she says she has a lot to give. Something was missing, but now she knew.
I need a platform. When I came into yoga class, I realized this is the platform because I can use the poses to create those power words, the courage, the serenity, the love.
Natalie Rogers says, the cooling tower is a nice way to end a hot 90-degree yoga class. Grady Newsource reporter, Gigi Kwan.
And if you want to try a new way to relieve your stress, you can go to any local yoga class and test it out. Coming up, seniors getting caught in the lies of scammers. More on that at the break. Plus, honey, I'm taking the bike. Policymakers are thinking of easier ways to get from point A to point B. Thinking of easier ways.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Scammers are targeting some of our most vulnerable, and with just one call. Celeste Springer spoke to an expert and one victim's daughter about how you can protect them.
Hey, how are you? I'm good. How about you?
Pat Anderson is a receptionist at the Oconee Senior Center. She's no stranger to phone scams.
She was scammed, threatened with arrest for failing to show up for jury duty.
Her mom thought the county was calling.
If they want money, that's the first sign you should be aware, especially if they say, go by Walmart, you can get a gift card or you can get a card and send it. And crochet and everything.
The elderly are the most common victims targeted, but it can happen to anyone.
I talk about scams for 40 hours a week, and a couple of months ago, I almost got scammed myself. I was on Facebook. I got a friend request with my Aunt Teresa. Had her picture, had her name, essentially she was messaged me and she said, Nathan, I really need some money because the bank is going to foreclose on my house.
It wasn't his aunt. Most scams use a network of people across the globe.
But what's even more surprising is some might be coming from your own backyard.
Essentially, there's a doctor that's licensed in the United States, but they might be calling themselves from overseas.
Doctors in the United States prescribe medical equipment like walkers over the phone. The people who produce the equipment, the ones calling from across the ocean, then charge the victims Medicare.
They'll say we have a free knee brace for you, free back brace for you. And when these companies say free, what they mean is we're going to bill your Medicare or Medicaid for it.
Often that medical equipment is extremely poor quality or doesn't even fit the person who needs it.
You shouldn't really be giving out information over the phone or internet unless you know who's asking for it.
That's the best way to prevent you or your loved ones from becoming a victim.
Because once you figure out it's been a scam, it's too late to do anything about it. The money's already gone.
Did they ever find out who it was?
No.
If you're concerned about any questionable calls, you can contact your local police or the Stop Medicare Fraud Now hotline at 1-877-272-8720. You may own a car, but you also may need a bike or even your feet to get where you need to go. That's why Athens-Clarke County policymakers and community members are collaborating to make transportation more accessible for everyone.
Yeah. There's more stuff in there too. Most communities, most small towns, they don't have anything like this.
People like Scott Long, coupled with commissions like Athens in Motion, mean accessible transportation is well on its way to success.
It's so much better than just having to go up to mayor and commission meetings and just go, I want a sidewalk here. And, well, why do you want your sidewalk? Why should that be more important than someone else's sidewalk?
That our regional plan.
Elliot Caldwell, executive director of Georgia Bikes, says Athens is a unique example.
And so what's unique about Athens in Motion is that you've got this great plan. It's a county plan, not a regional plan. And there's funding attached to it through the T-SPLOST.
With local government funds coming into commissions like Athens in Motion, it's going to mean a lot more bike lanes just like these in and around Athens-Clarke County. It's going to mean a lot for accessible transportation for people who really need them most.
It's not every district gets the same. It is more focused on the areas that need the most should be getting the most.
Carol Myers, chairman of Athens in Motion, agrees as well.
And so there's a history of government projects sort of ignoring or not including, not asking for the voices of people who are less in the center of powerful positions. And I don't want that to be the case with the Athens in Motion project.
Athens isn't the only area of focus for accessible transportation.
We, at the state level, with state policy at the General Assembly, we're trying to support not just bike and pedestrian-friendly legislation, but we're trying to expand, see transit expanded.
Caldwell says biking isn't just for serious athletes or biking professionals.
Really, bicycling is for everybody. It's for every person that can.
Equity is a big priority for the folks at Athens in Motion and Bike Athens. Their goal is to have a bicycle and pedestrian connections to transit stops for 30% of bus stops across the county. Coming up after the break, I'm going to be telling you all about the big story tonight, possible snow showers. In addition to that, I'm going to be giving you the 5-day forecast as well as telling you all about the weekend ahead.
We'd do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
I love
Can we get strawberries?
Okay.
And now, the weather.
Good evening. I'm Jack Binder, and this is your Grady Newsource weather report. So tonight I'm going to be telling you all about the big story, potential snow tonight. In addition to that, I'm going to be giving you a 5-day forecast, as well as telling you all about the weekend ahead so you have an idea of what to look forward to the next few days. So overnight tonight, we're going to see a low of around 32 degrees with a 50% chance of snow and rain starting out in the evening. That's going to be around 10 p.m. Later in the evening, around 12 a.m. to 2 a.m., we're going to see more like a 20% chance of snow. We're also going to be seeing winds out of the northeast at around 5 to 15 miles per hour. So in addition to that, just to recap, little to no snow accumulation. We're likely to see the snow mixed in with rain much of the time, and it's going to be between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m. Tomorrow it's going to be sunny with a high of 45 and winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Additionally, our 5-day forecast, as you can see ahead, it's going to be a little colder but sunny the next couple days. I'm Jack Binder. This has been your Grady Newsource Weather Report.
What to expect when you're expecting
Like here.
a teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
Ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
But yeah, even in the pre-show when I was recording and I was like, dang, who wrote this? I thought it was Cantrell, but good job.
Thank you.
No, I mean, I'm not that creative. I'm decent, but I struggle. You know, I have my strengths. That's not one. It was amazing.
Thank you.
And and I will tell you, when the pre-shows are bad, the audiences go, wah, wah. I have another channel I can watch. I don't have to be bored. Okay? I know even some of your parents go, I want to watch this, but oh. Anyway, but today, all your hard work, and so many of you did such hard work, such great preparation. By God, people stayed around and watched it because of Anaya's teases. All of you owe a debt to her. Because she kept people in, and then she kept people coming back. Just when I'm thinking it's time to go into snooze fest mode, I hear, hey, honey, I'm getting a bike. And I'm going, what? You know, she re-alerted.
Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah, what's up?
Also, it makes the anchor look really good when they're not just reading BS, because
when they're humans, you mean?
Right, exactly.
Normal people?
So I'm assuming the general public isn't like, oh yeah, the producer scripted that, the anchor's just reading it. They're probably assuming that all that is written by the anchor, so you're making the anchor look good too. So yeah, good job.
Completely make the anchor. You're allowing the anchor to do their job, which is to engage the audience into important information.
And I knew that Ethan had the personality to be able to say, honey, I'm taking the bike. Like when you said it, I was like, I knew he'd say it like that, or like, for the love of llamas. I knew he'd say it like that. That's why I was like, this is an Ethan kind of thing. But I don't think it would work for necessarily everybody. There's certain things for each person.
That is why you have a gift, because you're absolutely right on that. And I wish you could produce a little bit more, because it would be interesting to see how you would produce. There are those producers that know how to be the wind beneath their anchor's wings and just make their anchor look like they know everything. Truth of the matter, the public, that while they do have a peek behind the curtain and know what goes on, honestly, it's like, oh, he's talking to me, which is as it should be, which is why I want you guys to watch Jeannie's story. You made him relatable. So we got people into the house, and that was really good. I love the fact that when I said, oh, you got to say something about the snow mix. I mean, you can't do snow in Georgia and not mention it. The other thing I did on your behalf that you guys don't know about, I am sometimes difficult to talk with. I know you guys don't think that. But Anaya, but I am. And especially if I make a decision, because I will make a decision, good or bad, I'll make one. And it's hard, I can be difficult to push back against. And just a little bit.
No, I saw her. She pushed back.
Man.
And earlier this morning, I was like...
It's like, fight the power. Everybody was like, oh, no.
I can't remember what you were saying. I can't remember what you were saying, but I remember sitting over here, and now you're like, no, this is important. I can't remember what you were talking about.
Yeah.
But
You're like, are you fighting me? I like that. And I was like, what?
I was like, yes. Like, you're speaking up.
Make a decision. Look, you will make choices in your life. You make good decisions. You won't make bad decisions. I will just tell you, you guys know I'm the journalist who I love math. The more decisions that make, the more right ones you make. Of course, the more mistakes you might make too, but you make more right ones. Okay, so make a decision. If you're going to be in that leadership, make a decision. So today we're like, oh, we're leading with weather because it's going to snow. It's going to be crazy, blah blah blah. Well, then we get the thing from Jackson County and that horrific tragedy, and I goes, well, wait a minute. I think mental health has to be a lead. I mean, because this is the mental health issue that's addressed that way. And then we've got something else going on with mental health, something else going on. And I'm, I don't know what I said. Sometimes I just yell into the wind. I have no idea. And so I'm whirling around, and I goes, what about the snow? Why should you do mental health? And she went, no. And then she told me why. And that's important. First, she started with that feelings,
Yeah.
But she told me why. Real short and sweet, and she was committed to it. And the fact of the matter is, if she were committed to starting with hot yoga, she could have sold me on that too, because producers are going to do things differently. Talented producer will pick their hill and plant their flag, and you did that today, and you made it work, and you were committed to it. Once you commit to something, you align your troops in that direction and just go. And I was very proud of you for that, and it's what made the difference in this show. This was the best show you guys have done, which is as it should be, right? It's supposed to get better.
Yeah.
But this was not just less sucky. This was a good show. I, in my professional life, have produced worse shows than this. I'm embarrassed to say, but it's true. This was a really good show. Now, big part of it, too. So Anaya got everybody into the house, and Anaya organized everything for you. And paid attention to pre-shows and stuff that we don't the way that we should. But you guys did a whole bunch of work. The storytelling in tonight's show was really good. In fact, I had to go talk to Neil and Jim because I think they yelled at him to be quiet, which is completely inappropriate, I'm sure. But I want to hear. It's really good stuff. So what was our first story? It was Mayan.
Yeah.
Hotel.
Good job.
You were in command.
Oh, someone get him the...
I trusted you. And you went out and got a story today about something incredibly difficult, incredibly sad, and you let us feel the heart of the story without being maudlin, and without being patronizing, and without being self-aggrandizing, and without just picking at a very painful scab for community. You told this story respectfully, then you told it in a way that moved it forward. And you did it just from that one Facebook post because of the information that was there and the fact that they said, hey, there's a suicide prevention hotline. Or maybe Anaya pointed out to you, I don't know. But you took the ball and you ran with it. Talk about that a little bit. Really gratified by your performance in here, your tag, everything, and your instincts.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to think that my instincts were good, but a lot of it was also luck. I mean, I was sitting there at the sheriff's office, and
There's no such thing.
no one was there, so I mean, I called Denai and Professor Cantrell, and they're like, well, just go find somebody and start asking questions. So I went to the grocery store, as most people do at 11, and some lady there at the cash register was like, oh, yeah, go check out this place. So I drove over there, and luckily there was a guy that was free to chat there, and so that worked out. And then I was trying to go to a church, so I drove to like 4 or 5 in the area, but they were all locked or no one was there to chat. And so I went to a pizza place that was just on the main street because there's not a ton of different things there, and the person that was working at the register there was like, oh, you need to go next door to this Brett guy. Brett's been in Oglethorpe County for a decade, and he could probably help you. So, and then I went in there, and Brett was ecstatic to talk. And so, luckily, people were just cooperative. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not what I was going to do in the morning. I should have thought about it. Yeah, and luckily, when I went out there, people were just free and available, and they cared more than anything. So, yeah, that worked out.
Well, people care when they sense it. You know, what is it? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You obviously demonstrated that. I told you, a part of this job that we don't talk about a lot is kind of the psychology and relatability to people. You can't do this job if you don't care about people, even though that's not always what people think about us. The fact is, most of us do get into this profession because we genuinely do care. And I think you obviously demonstrated that. You make your own luck. Don't sell yourself short. You make your own luck. You made your luck through effort. You stopped by at least 8 different places today. That's a lot of effort, and especially in this beautiful, sunny, warm weather. Oh, wait. So good for you. I feel like you pushed past something today, and I feel like you hit a new mark, and I know you're going to grow from that, and I'm gratified by that. And then Mary, talk to us about you. Is it just me? Did anybody love Mary's story? Did everybody hate it? Was it just me who loved it? Yeah. Talk to us about, wait, before you talk, Mary, somebody else talk about Mary's story. Nobody? Anybody? For real? Oh, my God.
So Mary and I were talking on the phone yesterday, and she was telling me that she was on her way back from Jackson County. And I was like, oh, what's your story? I'll go ahead and drop it in the Google Sheets for you. And she was like, okay. So she's giving me a quick rundown. I was like, wait, that's really cool. Very interested. Can't wait to hear about it. So even from yesterday, I was really excited to hear about it because I do think it's a really cool program. And it's not just like a scary straight kind of thing. It's kind of like, hey, I'm a normal person. Yeah. And I feel like people like to hear about normal people. So
it is a cool program, but I promise you, it could be a real boring story. But it wasn't because of what Mary did.
I think I went into it with the misconception that this was going to be, like you said, like beyond scared straight. I thought this was going to be hardened criminals. And the sheriff, first of all, she's outstanding. I even said in my story, she's the second female to ever be elected sheriff in the state of Georgia. That's crazy. And she was telling me about this girl who was really popular, and I talked about it in my package. She was a cheerleader, and she made the decision to drink and drive, and she killed someone. And it was just the normalcy that the sheriff was kind of explaining to me, and that's when I realized how important the event was going to be. And then she connected me with a speaker, and I met with him this morning, and he told me about his journey, and I think I was able to realize how important the story was, and then we worked on it last night with, yeah. And
it's like midnight.
It was like midnight. We were texting back and forth. And also, I had bad B-roll, so I was able to find things and make some graphics, and I had tons of help from the staff. So appreciative. All the volunteers helped me just to create, not to let my lack of B-roll be the downfall of my story. So.
Well, you also did a nice job looking for some B-roll too. I mean, you got the cover of the magazine. To me, the most memorable moment, one of the more memorable moments, was her talking about, I had my gun on a belt, sort of like I do now. I mean, that was just kind of a moment, and she wasn't behind her desk. I thought that you told the story beautifully. I thought it looked polished and professional. You took us from character to character to character. The story was relatable. I felt you understood it and you made us understand it. And you didn't just report, you told us a story about a girl whose name we don't need to know because her story could be anybody's story. You introduced us to a man who had the courage and the trust in you to tell you his story. And it isn't always easy to make public officials human beings, although they all are. And you did a great job with it. I was really proud of that story. And then after that, Gigi, I felt like you made some breakthroughs today.
I was expect a lot from this story because I was her character, like the instructor, she has like, I don't know, like she's like a angel from the sky. I don't know, like she's just really.
You just love her.
Yeah, because I talked with her like 5 hours. Like she stayed after class 2 hours just talking with us, and then I just think like because I know people who have suffering depression, and I know like when they go through, it's a really tough situation for them, and then someone doing it like yoga, something different than medication and hospital, like something like really serious, like, oh, you're sick, you gotta be cured, something like that. But yoga is like, I feel like really interesting idea. I never thought about it could help, but then so I went into it, and then it was really interesting. But I messed up my lead and tag. I didn't get like fixed it, and then so I make the anchor like I was an anchor like last week, and then so I know that's the worst you can do to anchor, like.
I know, you totally blew it.
Like
he
the
probably hates you for it.
I can tell. I think he did a great job, and then you also, like,
Yeah,
it worked together.
Oh, please, I read it, and I go, I proved that. How did I leave that in there? There's no blame to go around. But at the end of the day, it is your name. It is Gigi Kwan. You probably should write it, and it's good that you have the decency to have sympathy for the anchor. Gigi, you fell in love with your story, and you fell in love with your character, and I think it's wonderful, and I applaud the fact that you would spend 5 hours talking to somebody, okay? Because, by golly, you're going to know. I don't like when I ask reporters questions about their stories, and I don't know. That's not really reporting. But, you know, there is the other side of that, too. And it can make it hard to put a story together. I could tell you were really disappointed, but we could not do 5 minutes on hot yoga. You also have to be careful about falling so in love, because then you can't, you know, you've got to be able to approach something with bias. You don't want to get on there and go, oh my God, I met this woman 5 hours. She's great. She loves hot yoga. I think hot yoga is the best thing in the world. I'm going to do hot yoga here, light a candle. I don't even know what it is. I'm going to sweat. I'm going to bend around a little bit, and I love it. And I love her. That we can't do that. But what you did a great job of going out. You did go out, and you found some important research. And the interesting thing about your research is this was a study done 2 years ago, and there are a few more studies out there, not a lot. So I'm not saying you can't do something on that. Maybe do the research a little earlier. You know, you feel yourself falling in love. You've fallen in love with everybody in every story so far, right?
Yeah.
You're lovable like that. It's endearing. But you need to know this about yourself and go, please, 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 let me go find some data and some fact. Let me love them from afar, okay? So that I can give an honest, unbiased story, which you ended up doing. And you did a nice job of it.
At the first draft, it was like the whole PR thing again.
I know.
And I want to try so hard. The second draft is like be in the middle. Like yoga is not the only best way to cure depression.
Yeah.
And I found data to support. Like maybe it could help you.
Yes, you did. And it was good data, and it was credible data, and that matters. So you could love it, but you need to know the data before you love. But you made improvements today, and I like that you had 2 characters, and your B-roll was better today. Work with the net sound a little bit. We all need to do that. Yeah. What was the next story? It wasn't scammer. It was yes. So, Anna Catherine. Yeah. We messed with you today. We tried something different on you today. We messed with a lot of you today, and I want you to know that we don't usually do that kind of mess around until we have confidence that you can like put a story together and it's watchable. We don't we don't do all this other stuff. Today, you know, I knew we were at a point in the semester where mine was going to be cool in the newsroom, you were going to be cool on the set, you were going to be cool a lot, you guys are there. That's a good thing. I think today you made this harder than it needed to be. I'll talk about a way to make it a little easier, but kudos to you for you were one of the more honest and relevant and open parts of the newscast. You were compelling to watch because of your genuineness. So talk about how you came through this story and got to where you did.
So it was kind of a long process. I went to the debate last night with just the intent of being like, hey, I'm here, let's see what they're talking about. I had no idea how that, no mics, no light, back of the head. Had no idea what to expect, and it was a lot more than I anticipated. I thought it would just be like a couple students there that were like maybe super into SGA, and there were like probably more than 300 people there, and they were all very like clapping and shouting and cheering for the people that they liked, and so I was definitely shocked by that. And then they were talking about a lot of really like complex things that I also wasn't anticipating. So I texted Anaya and I was like, hey, there just wasn't a lot of opportunity for good like, B-roll, but I think that I can do like a stand-up at the smartboard and maybe do like some sort of like graphics and stuff and kind of move the story that way. So I started like trying to pull statistics on like food insecurity in Athens because that's kind of where I thought I was going with it. And then we got here today, realized that our other stories revolved around mental health, and they talked about that last night. So then we tried to take it in that direction, which I was not prepared for. So then I got a little overwhelmed, but I made a lot of calls, which I don't love doing, but I made a lot of calls. I finally got in contact with somebody that was willing to talk, and so I did get an interview with her, and then, yeah.
So when you say I made a lot of calls that I don't love doing.
I don't love just like cold calling people and being like, hey, so I'm doing the story today. Can you like meet with me in like an hour? I don't really love doing that.
It's better if you can prepare the night.
Yeah.
It's better. But
So that was not enjoyable, and I don't like being told no. So
Yeah.
when they're
The rest
like,
of us love it.
So when they're like, so when they were like, no, everyone's busy today, I was like, okay, I understand. Thank you. Bye. Like, I don't like. I just, yeah.
you know, you guys you really did a nice job preparing today. Don't let the preparation lull you. One thing I thought I said about 5 times was never once in my career did I ever do the story I planned to do. So always be prepared to be nimble and don't let it get you down, okay? Because it will change and you may have to do something else. And I don't want this class to, because when you go into your newsrooms and you'll have something prepared, their idea of preparation will be, you got a pitch for us? Yep. Got anybody lined up? No, but I will. Okay. You know, the level of preparation you're doing is really, really good, but don't let it lull you into thinking, but I'm doing this. Please don't make me go out and do this. One of the things that might have made it easier for you, I think because when you guys think packages, you think B-roll, I must have B-roll. Well, B-roll is anything, right? So I think today was difficult on you out in the studio. You did a good job. Going back and forth from that smartboard and the SOTs, because there's the timing going to come up. Is the prompter going to be there? I always try to take out, this may just be type A control freak kind of thing. Try to take out any guesswork anywhere you can. This profession gives you enough guesswork. So what I might have done if I were you, and what you might want to think about in the future, I don't have B-roll doesn't mean I can't have a package. So you guys, we're going to go over this, and we're going to go over this next week because you asked for it, and we'll talk about packages. Packages is merely media, your reporter audio track, sound bites, but your B-roll can be graphics and can be anything. I've done packages. You know, one thing, a former professor here, David Hasinski, who's just so smart, and we're going to go over his Hasinski tree next week because I think it'll help you guys. But, you know, one of the things he talks a lot about doing is, you know, if I were a reporter today, and I think this is genius, I would just take my iPhone, my selfie stick, and if I know the story, I'd walk along and go, I'm at the SGA meeting, and they've got, you know, 3 different executive teams, and this team earlier was talking about this, and this team was talking about that, and this team was talking about that. And he said, then I'd lay that. I'd put that in Premiere and just lay some B-roll over that. Wouldn't even have to write a voice track. It would just be very cinema verite, you know, experience. That may not work for everything, but in this case, what you might have done is, I loved throwing to you. I loved the realness that you gave us. It was compelling. It was good writing. Sometimes you write distantly. Today you didn't. It was really good. And stay in that lane. But then what if you had done everything else like a package? What if you had voiced everything else and just put those smart graphics? You made the graphics anyway, right?
Right.
And then what if you just recorded yourself in front of the smart board going, nah, 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 and the sound bites. I can't believe I just did that noise. And what if that had been on one piece of media so that when we tossed to you, we would see that, but it would be, they pushed one button.
It's not as difficult for them.
And then, and it's not as difficult for you. So think about that. Don't limit yourself to what you think a package is. It can be most anything. Ethan, I liked your package very much. Ethan did a really nice job with a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Watch Rule of Thirds. You know, the guy didn't really have any speaking room, one of your biker guys. And he was the focus was a little soft. Did you notice that, or was that me?
No, you're right.
I thought it was my glasses.
No, it was.
Okay.
It was. I noticed it after. I didn't look closely at the camera when I was doing the interview.
Okay. And then we talked about the lady, Carol, who was so good. And this is something I noticed on Ethan, and I don't know that this would have fixed it or not, but I will tell you this. The further away these mics are from somebody's mouth, the greater opportunity you give the mic to pick up a bunch of ambient noise. So I noticed Carol's mic was down here. I mean, it may feel creepy. Just could you put that mic as close to your mouth as possible? You got a better shot, okay? Because you don't want anything interfering, because she did say good stuff. But Ethan did a really nice job limiting what he was saying and writing into and out of the bites. And guys, you guys did a nice job today. You had confidence, and so your sound bites were shorter. And it's really good. Celeste, I really liked your story. You know, I don't know why you didn't get a sound bite with me. I mean, that's my demo. Those are my people. I get the calls, you know. I've sponsored a Nigerian prince or two. No, I haven't. But I do. I get those calls all the time. I probably got one today. I just don't answer them anymore. But I thought that was a really good story, and it matters. We're the largest demographic. I was talking to a friend of mine last night who runs a television station in Atlanta, and we were talking about, you know, just different data points and how we have to do news and talk to different audiences. And we literally were talking about, oh my God, our demo is taking over. You poor young people. What did you like about your story today?
I think what I liked, it wasn't necessarily the story itself that you could see, but what went into the story. I got set out to go do that reader at the commission meeting, which got tossed, which is fine because I can totally use that for a different story. So I'm getting better with time management. I mean, that's really crazy that, like, from week 1, I went from, like, literally couldn't do a day turn period to, like, I could do it, and now I can go to a commission meeting for an hour too.
It gets crazier. I mean, better.
Right.
Better.
I also think I had spoke to, and that's our show.